All right, well, it's so good to see you.
You too.
It's been a minute. Mm-hmm. You know, we were doing those events. I don't even know what.
That was like 2015, no, maybe 2016.
No, it might have been later. No, 17.
Later, maybe. I have a poor concept of time.
Me too. It was I think it was 17. I want to say.
Okay, that could be accurate.
But then I got hooked up with these other people, and I was doing, the panel discussion stuff they were doing.
Who? The people that came after me?
Yeah.
Oh, and they kept doing panel discussions?
Well, the Veronica, what's her name?
Veronica.
Something. Metro Mode, those people.
Oh, like the Model D folks?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. That's cool.
Yeah, they did. They tried to do a similar thing to what you were doing. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't want to talk shit, but,
But just to be clear, I was the innovator. No, people have been doing that stuff for a minute.
Yeah, but I don't know. When you were doing it, it was it seemed a little more organic,
Yes. Well, I was trying to create a platform for people that don't normally have one, and also trying to get more people involved in the conversation that, don't normally like to come to those kind of things.
Yeah.
So it's let's film it so people can see that it's, it's a casual, open conversation.
Yeah, but you had not just the people, it was the representatives from the city.
Yeah.
There's some chiefs of police in that thing.
That's true. That was trying to give people access to.
Right. And then because the crime stats, even that thing, and they were like, oh yeah, we have all the crime stats. Why don't you post that somewhere?
Yeah.
It's
well, that one, I was trying to let the university security know that there were mixed feelings to them being in the neighborhood, because the president of the university had been lobbying forever to get the boundaries expanded for where university police could go. And lots of old folks are like, thank God, more police. But the young folks were like, no. Yeah, they're they harass us already, and you want to give them more territory to do that. Yeah, so I was trying to, have that conversation publicly just so they could understand all the dynamics.
And how do you feel that one? That was a wild one. There was a guy that threatened to kill somebody or something.
I don't remember that. What?
No, I don't know.
We'll have to watch the tapes.
Then we'll have to watch the tapes. I remember it got a little heated, is what I'm saying.
It did, but heated usually just means honest.
That's true,
Yeah.
And it's you can have that debate with disagreeing
people. If you have the right moderator.
That's right.
You can't take things personally, and you can't get uncomfortable when it gets uncomfortable. You just got to expect that that's going to happen.
Yeah, and I think those conversations are so important, to have. There's a lot of people, so divided right now they can't talk to each other. It's I'm this guy and I'm this guy. It's you're not that. You're not those people,
Right. Those are just your ideas at that moment in time.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer that your ideas can change, so.
Well, it's also funny because they put their trust in these rich old dudes. And it's those dudes don't give a fuck about you.
Well, that's what's interesting. They think they'll be that one day, so
is
they
gotta.
I swear that's what it is. People thinking that.
I'm that too. I got at least 2 or 3. I'm old, and it's weird.
That's funny. Wait, so tell me more about this podcast. When did you start it? What's it about?
Well, this podcast, I started it during, when we went into quarantine, because I don't know. So I've just been interviewing friends and people I know about music and stuff in Detroit. And
that's awesome.
And stuff they're doing, talking shit,
I know, that's why I came. I'm what's Kirill up to? Because I thought it might be more in line with your goth industrial music scene stuff, which is super cool. Okay.
I mean, it's in line with that, but also I don't give a fuck. I don't want to limit it to this is about industrial music only. And it's fuck that, I want to talk about shit,
That's fun. Can we talk about both? What's happening with the music scene? I feel so weird that I can't go to a show.
Yeah, isn't it? Well, I
used to complain all the time, I'm not going to see your shitty band. But now I'm I would kill to go see a friend's shitty band.
You think that, but when you come out of lockdown, you'll be I'm fucking busy.
I'll go back to the way I was before,
not
fuck
going
your
to
shitty
your
band.
show, yeah.
I just want to get to a club and watch a show.
I know, same. I haven't. The only thing I did, I went to UFO Factory a few months ago.
It's open?
No, but it was
Oh.
like my friend was doing a Twitch festival and they wanted me to film it.
Interesting.
So I went in there and it was like 5 people and we're, all masked up.
So like live music, but you're filming it for Twitch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was like 3 people, there's like old friends there and we're just like, oh, this is weird. We're at the bar, but there's no one here, so.
Oh, interesting.
But that Twitch thing has been taken off. Like people are.
I didn't know. Like a friend of my old roommate in Chicago, actually, is a DJ, and he did a DJ set Friday night. And my friend texted me about it. I'm like, that's dumb. What do I want to watch that for? I was like, all right, let me see what's happening. And then I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Because there's a little chat.
There's a chat.
It's like people I haven't seen in a long time, like chiming in,
Right.
people making a request, and then he can play the song. So it's kind of.
Oh, that's nice of him that he does that. I don't do that shit.
Not all the time, but I was like, okay, that's kind of a clever.
It is.
Way
it
to
is.
do
I mean,
things.
it's a way for people to connect, and it's kind of funny because it's kind of like it's that AOL. Do you remember the AOL chat room
Yes.
shit, right?
Yes.
So it's like that.
Kind of, we're going all full circle.
Totally.
But there's like a video
But there's a
component that we didn't have before.
Yeah, the difference between then and now is there's a video with music now.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Well, and my friend who was doing the DJ said it was cool because like his kid came in. We're all like, oh, it's a baby.
Oh,
and then like the
yeah,
wife
right.
came in.
No, it's always-
It's like kind of fun.
Yeah, it is fun. There's like, oh, there's a cat. And then people just talk about like the randomest shit. They don't talk about the music.
Yeah,
It's really like having like, if you're,
that is very true.
they don't talk about the music, right?
People are just chiming in, talking
They
about
just talk-
whatever.
like, oh, I had a horrible time sleeping last night. And you're like, oh no, why don't you take more valerian root or some whatever the fuck it is, It's,
Yes.
it's a weird little community, but it's,
Yes.
I guess, it gets you over in a pinch, which has been a year now.
I know. I was skeptical, but I kind of liked it on Friday night. Speaking of like chats, have you done Clubhouse yet?
No, I haven't done Clubhouse. Have you done Clubhouse? How's that go?
I was really into it when I first got on. I haven't been on in a minute, but
Like, who's on there?
everybody.
Oh, yeah?
Really, like everybody. See, now I actually like it less because there are too many people on it. I was on it maybe like 4 months ago, and it seemed like this kind of under the radar experimental kind of thing, but now it somehow accesses all your contacts, and it gives me an alert when everybody I know is on there, and some of the people I'm like, oh, they're on there now. Like it's jumped the shark clearly. They're letting everybody on.
Yeah.
But what I like about it is it's like it's a real low barrier to entry way to do a conversation. So if me and you want to go host a public conversation, we don't need an organization to sponsor it. We don't need like a bunch of equipment. We could just pull up the app right now and be like, Lauren and Kirill are talking about Goth Industrial.
Yeah. And people tune in.
And then like people that we know or people that follow us, like get an alert, Lauren and Kirill are in this room, go visit, or anybody who has selected music or subculture or whatever we want as like our tags, will find our chat. But what I like about it too is like it's people from all over the world. So I'm discovering people that I never would have found otherwise. So it's like there are like thousands of virtual conferences going on at any given moment.
Interesting.
With like famous people and like real like genuine thought leaders and leaders of industry. Like Elon Musk came on one time and did a talk. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah, I gotta check it out. I wonder how many of my friends are on.
It'll tell you.
It'll tell you. Right?
It'll tell you as soon as you get on.
Signal does that too. I mean, I don't know if you use Signal.
No, I've heard about it. What is the Signal?
Signal is an encrypted messaging app. So.
Ah, yes. Somebody sent me an email via Signal, and I was like, what is this creepy
What the
weirdness?
fuck is this shit?
Yeah, I was like, is the government trying to get me? Tell me more about it.
No, it's like the opposite of that, I guess. It started by this guy named Moxie something Melons. I forget his name, but he's like a weird. He looks like a dude that would hang out at like the Trumbleplex or something. He's got the shaved sides and the dreadlocks, and he talks about whatever. Like, it's funny, but you know, the app is good, but it tells you like when you're on it, it's like so and so is on Signal, and you're like, fuck.
That's the same thing that Clubhouse does. Like it accesses your contacts to tell you who's in there. Yeah.
That's a little weird, but.
Yeah, because some people that are in my contacts, it's like some rando that emailed me like 8 years ago about whatever.
Yeah.
And now they count as a contact.
I almost want it to do like the invisible mode, because when you go on there, it tells them that you're on there too. It's like, do you want that to be on, you know, or do you want to just incognito slide
Yes, exactly.
slide in there and be like, hey, I'm just listening or whatever.
Yep, anybody whose contacts you're in, it'll be like, Lauren Hood is here.
You're gonna get a special phone just for that shit, right? Where it's like 3 people or whatever.
Right.
Just the people you want. Well, you know, I don't know, we're making do. I mean, it's funny because I mean, I feel like the people that are benefiting from all these lockdowns are like definitely like the tech industry.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And people that make athleisure.
What's that? I don't know about this.
Athleisure is like clothes that are stretchy, but they're a little dressier than workout clothes.
So you're not working out, you just look comfortable or something?
Yeah, well, because that's what everybody's wearing now.
All right, because you don't have to leave your
We
house.
started out, I think, all wearing sweats all the time, but then you're like, okay, I want to look a little better, but I still want to be comfortable. So I feel like athleisure brands are...
Is that what you're wearing now, or is this not?
Well, the top, yes, my
Okay.
skinny jeans. This is dressed up for me because I've been wearing yoga pants like all locked down.
Right on.
So if I put real pants on,
You're ready to rock
then
and
I'm
roll.
dressing up.
Okay, ready to rock and roll.
Actually, I got a WeWork space, so that gives me an excuse to put pants on too.
Yeah, how is that going?
I like it because it's the one on Cass. It's a huge open space with like, I don't know, 50-foot ceiling. So, you know, it's got really good ventilation. And there's like, I don't know, no more than like 10 people in there anytime I go. So we all get our own like 100 square feet.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's like a co-working
Exactly.
thing, right?
But it makes me feel like I'm going to work, you know?
Sure.
Like get up, get dressed.
Instead of just staying in your house.
Instead of going to my,
I go to my laptop.
Let me go to my, office, which is the end of my dining table, because I don't have enough space.
It's been fairly challenging. I'm thankful for this space that we have here to like come here and work out and, you know, try to get people healthier.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can we talk about your old situation?
What's that?
That, you know, your rental situation. I didn't know if you want to talk about.
All right. Yeah, all right.
I feel like that's the story. Did he kick all you guys out?
Well, there's a bunch of layers to that, but yeah, we were renting in Eastern Market, the Kung Fu school, and we had a lease with Rocky.
Rocky of Rocky's Peanuts?
Yeah, Sam, that was the guy, you know, some old school Italian, whatever shit going on there. And
How long were you there?
Like since 2005.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. So we were there through the whole thing, you know, like when it was like no man's land and then before that we were in a loft in Eastern Market from like 2000. So it was like under the radar, kind of not really public, you know. And then 2005 we started doing a public location, you know. And so it was a good, 13, 14 years in that spot.
Dang.
But we were getting it for so cheap from Rocky because they didn't give a shit. They made their money elsewhere, that kind of thing, you know. So, but I mean, also like nobody wanted it at the time. Like we had 5,000 square feet for $1,000 in Eastern Market.
Dang.
A month. So you can see how, from a real estate
Right.
perspective, the guy goes in there and he's like, "How much are you fucking paying here? Get the fuck out of here!" You know. And we were like lapsing on rent sometimes because it's whatever, you know.
Interesting. Did he keep up the property well? Like, was he doing?
We built it up. Oh yeah,
Okay.
it was nice. You know, like it was a spice warehouse before we got to it. So we like built the whole thing, and it was our spot. You know.
Dang.
And I mean, there was brought a certain amount of like I mean, whatever it is, presence to the market as well, you know, because it was there for so long. Mm-hmm. So a bunch of people came through there. I mean, hundreds of people, you know, to like worked out in there, you know. But yeah, you know, his vision, you know, he tried to work with us, but it was just like, you know, it just wasn't gonna work, you know. So what happened is in 2018, I got a loft in Eastern Market and moved the school there. It was like on the 3rd floor in Division above the Detroit Hustles Harder dudes, where they are now. So we're there for a year, and after that, he wanted me to move to another loft that had no street access or anything. Right? And I was like, well, fuck that. So just moved
Then
out.
you came over here?
Well, this space we already had.
Oh.
So he's like, you know, he probably was thinking, oh, this guy's got no fucking options, you know. So we're like, no, it's okay. Like, the market is over, bitch, you know, like so we got out of there.
Eastern Market that's so 10 years ago.
It's so right, you know. But I mean, so okay, so I had the loft there before where my studio was, right? And I was paying $750, right? For like 2,000 square foot loft.
Dang.
It's like the price never changed from like
That's insane.
From like 2000 or whatever when we first started renting it from Rocky, you know. Because it was like the school was there and the lofts were there, so it kind of had a good thing, you know. Like people lived there and trained, and it was like a whole little compound thing going on. And then he came in, and he was like, well, you know, the rent is now $1,500. And we're like, okay. And then, but I wanted to get the space next to that because that's where the Kung Fu school would go. And he's like, well, you can't just rent that space for $1,500. You have to rent both of them, and it'll be $3,000 a month. And I was like, okay, let's do it. I just like no hesitation. I'm like, yeah, sure. He's like, well, you got that? You can cover that? And I was like, well, you know, yeah, well, let's do it. You know, so. And then
he wasn't expecting that.
No, I guess not. So we just threw down for like a year, $3,000 a month. You know, and basically what I did is I turned one side of it to my friend Anthony Lee. He ran his gallery from there, you know, and we did some parties in there basically, you know, which he didn't like that we were doing that. But I'm like, come on, people are coming together, nobody's getting like too fucked up.
Yeah. You're still getting your money.
You're still getting your fucking $3,000 a month for nothing. Didn't fix anything, right? That's the thing. Like, I understand it's a low rent, but then like to come in there and be like, okay, it's twice as much now, and you
didn't do anything.
You didn't do shit. It's like some slumlord fucking
Seriously.
bullshit. You know? So that's the story, kind of. You know? I mean, pretty much.
Yeah.
And then he was trying to work with me on the other loft, and it's just. I consulted the I Ching, and I was like, fuck this guy.
Who did you consult?
The I Ching.
Who's that?
I Ching is a divination method.
Oh. Tell me more about that.
Oh, you never use that? It's
Is it like talking to your higher power or the ancestors?
No, I mean it's more like a probability thing. So, you know, it's an ancient Chinese divination method. You know, so they used to do it with the arrow sticks, but you can do it with coins. And you throw these coins, and you get these hexagrams. You generate the 6 lines, and you look up what they mean.
And that's your answer?
And it's kind of like you ask it a question, and it tells you there's 64 hexagrams made out of 8 trigrams, right? So you put them together. And so there's text, you know, and there's an I Ching text, and you consult it.
Interesting.
And you see what's up. I consult it in like times of like when it's something hard to figure out, you know.
And the answer was like, get out of there?
Not directly, but it was like if you stay there, you know, yeah, I forget exactly, but it's there's a bunch of stuff in there. It was like, because what happens is also in the I Ching, you get the hexagram, but some of the lines are changing. There's an open and a closed line, but it can be changing from one line to another. So you can see like you create one hexagram that's now, and with the change lines, you do one that what it's going to change into.
Whoa.
So it's like the future, you know, a few weeks from now, or. You know.
Is it an absolute future, or is what just a possibility? It shows you possibilities. or a probability.
It's just like a guidance, you know.
Interesting.
Like the story of it, the legend of it is this king in China was imprisoned by his opposition, enemies. He used the I Ching to like get out of prison and take power again, that kind of shit. You know? Yeah.
Okay.
But it's just like it's a good thing. The translation I use is by this guy named Richard Wilhelm. He's a German philosopher type fellow, you know. Mm-hmm. He did a translation of the text. There's a few of them, you know. So, yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I can show you later.
Yes.
It's good, you know, like I said, in times of when you're like, I don't know what the fuck to do. Because it was like a choice at that point for me, you know.
Yes.
I was like, okay, do I get out of the market or I keep dealing with this guy who I don't really like per se, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like I hate I understand, you know? He's 30 years old. He's trying to make shit happen in Eastern market.
Trying to make a name for himself.
If you were 30 years old and you had like millions of dollars, like what would your outlook be? So I understand his, you know, perspective. At the same time, like fuck that guy, you know? Like I'm not afraid to say it, you know? Mm-hmm. But Nelson, if you're listening to this, you know, I'll work with you in the future, man. It's all good. Just don't fuck up the market so bad, you know?
Right.
But I feel like, you know, he's got that shit. There's like 4 or 5 guys that got the whole thing locked up now. Like,
really?
Yeah, you can't buy. And what's another thing that's crazy is like, there's a bunch of lofts in there and they want to charge more money for it. They're empty. Nobody's fucking in there.
Really?
And it's the kind of same shit that's happening in like Manhattan and like other places where these rich guys, they can just sit on it. They don't give a fuck that nobody's renting it. And they're going to wait for the market to come up and then rent it out to people.
Is the market going to come up, though?
It hasn't fucking gone down.
Oh, I feel like, didn't COVID do something, though?
I don't know.
Actually, I have a friend who's a real estate broker, and he said he does houses, luxury homes, and he said his market, it went up because people wanted more space.
Right.
So people that were living in like a cute little loft were like, fuck that, I need to spread out. And I need to be
away from the city.
Yeah, away from all the people.
Yeah, no.
So when I see like the prices staying the same on all these apartments and lofts, it's like, are people going to pay that?
I know. It's. I mean, eventually, I think it will come up. We were like on this gentrification trajectory in Detroit, you know. That was like overwhelming.
Yeah.
And like.
I don't like using the G word.
Well, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. What do you want to call it?
I don't know. But I feel like when you use that word, people tune out. There was something happening.
There was. What was happening is, I mean, the property values were going up. The people that lived here for a long time suddenly were in the middle of this thing where it's like they can't afford to be there.
Yes.
And I've seen that happen like in Richmond, you know? There's a Kung Fu school in Richmond where our grandmaster lives there. So I've been coming there for a long time. And it was like pretty fucked up when I first started, but it was like affordable. And then it you just see Richmond now. It's fucking
interesting.
Art galleries and coffee shops, $6 coffees everywhere, you know?
And I feel like there's a way that you can have galleries and have coffee shops without it pricing people out or being too exclusive for the people
tell me about
that were there.
How would you do that?
There are just ways to do it.
There are?
Yeah, you work with people. Work with people that are there to figure it out. So I think that like the way that our market works here is people end up borrowing so much money to build the space out and start the business that they have to charge high prices so that they can pay their loans back. I think if we would do the development differently, those folks wouldn't have to pass on the burden of debt to their customers.
Yeah. So you said a couple of pretty interesting things there. So like, if you look at is it up to the people that are getting in there and developing it, or is it up to the people that are just living in the neighborhood, you know?
Well, I think it's up to the people in power to do it differently. Like, what are the people yes, it is. The people in the neighborhood could organize. You can do that for free right now.
Here's my thing about the people in power it's just like the whole capitalism idea where it's like, well, if everybody's doing well, they'll just pull everybody up by their bootstraps and the whole like trickle down economics shit. Just haven't seen that work.
No, it doesn't work at all.
No, so
and
like,
because there's never, I feel like even if you start out well intended, the
Yeah.
way it works, it's always like, yeah, as soon as I, level off, then I'll start helping other people out. But you're always like, yeah, just a few hundred more thousand.
just wait another 5-10
Yeah,
years.
and you're never gonna, you never get there. The goal line keeps moving.
Is it? I mean, it feels like it's almost like an education thing, but not like a formal education, but like education about money and what to do with it.
Yeah.
Like instead of saving money or, just living paycheck to paycheck or whatever it is, like investing in a certain thing,
Yeah, there's something to that too, but then there's people that don't make enough to save or invest.
Yeah.
But no, you're right about financial literacy. I made a shit ton of money one year, and I don't have any of it left.
Yeah, that's.
And I'm adjacent to a lot of people that are financially literate, but that's not good enough.
You gotta know.
You would think that, like, I know all these people that have, good business sense and good investing sensibilities, but yeah, not enough.
Bitcoin investors, what? No.
I know some, probably.
Yeah, probably.
I know a lot of people.
Yeah, it's like, no, you do know a lot of people.
Yeah, but I think there's knowing people, and then there's like knowing people. Like, who do I trust with my financial
advice
situations? Yeah,
I feel like that we need those people that will go in the community and just like be like, hey, get this app on your phone, invest in this whatever Vanguard ETF thing, and you'll get like a 14% return in a year. Like,
yeah, it's good. But can you imagine though? You're on the treadmill, the survival treadmill.
Yeah.
And you're trying to figure out how to keep your house, how to eat, how to pay for childcare, and then someone's like, just put some away. Put a little away every month and you can have, you're like, what?
Yeah,
Like, there's nothing left.
I think you can still put like $5 away though. I mean, it's like,
I don't know, man. I don't profess to,
I mean, I don't know.
I've been broke. I have not been poor, though. I have been broke many times, but I've never been, like, poor. So, like, I think we're thinking about it in terms of, like, I think the difference is, like, I'm always adjacent to people that have money. I will never not have food. I will never not have a place to live, because there are people around. Like, I remember my car got impounded, and the first friend I called, my friend Marvin, I was like, Marvin, I need $1,500 to get my car out. He's like, okay, when can you get it back? Lots of people don't have people that just have cash on hand for emergencies.
For sure.
So even when I've been like no money in my bank account, I always knew it was like right there. But there's some people who imagine like all the people in your circle are also poor or broke. Like there's no.
I got a good range of brokenness.
Yeah,
in my
same,
circle.
same. But I also know that like if times get hard, I know.
There's a couple. There's some resources.
And I feel like some people's circles don't have those people in them.
So what's the answer there?
Yeah, then I don't. I think that for people of color in particular, I feel like we've been convinced that we have no value and aren't worth anything. So I feel like when you internalize that, your life is reflective of that. You know what I mean?
Do you think it's like a spiritual development thing now?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel that a lot. Like, I feel like that a lot of these politics problems and the, the strife, the financial strife, has something to do with like an internal,
Yeah. Yes.
How you're perceiving, how you're taking in data.
Yeah, and how you think about yourself and what you deserve.
Yeah, what you are. And what you have.
Are you a follower of the law of attraction?
I think there's something to the karmic destiny or whatever you want to call it, like thing. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say, you know.
I like it a lot.
I mean, you
But
can
one
like
of the thing that like that was new in it, that documentary for me. I haven't read the book. I can't read right now. I have no attention span. Or it was introduced to me like back in '08 even. And I've watched the movie, listened to the audiobook dozens and dozens and dozens of times.
Wow,
but the
cool.
thing in it that was new for me was that you can't get good things if you don't think you deserve them. So it's more than just like power of positive thinking, like, ooh, let me visualize the things that I want. If you don't think that you deserve that shit,
Right.
you're not gonna get it. So I was like, oh, and then it clicked for me. Like I had to work on accepting that I deserve good things. And then I got good things. That was the thing that was missing for me, that I was worthy.
Yeah, I feel like it's, you know, they have that as above, so below thing, right? Mm-hmm. Which is in line with that. Mm-hmm. But I also want to, like, take it even further. Like, a lot of people don't take care of themselves physically.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you're, like, living in poverty, eating like shit. Mm-hmm. You feel like shit. Mm-hmm. And they don't work out or do...
Well, there are people that don't know. Let me tell you about, like, I worked at the city of Highland Park, and there was this intern, like, a big girl, and I thought she was, like, 30 or something. People were like, no, she's the high school intern. But this one time I brought my lunch back with me, and I had, like, some salmon and some quinoa, and she was looking at my food and was like, what is that? And I'm like, well, this is fish, and this is like a grain. And she was like, I eat fast food every meal unless I'm having like fried chicken or something. And I was just like thinking about like what her whole diet situation is.
Yeah, it's
like
fucked
she
up.
just eats fast food, except in her mind, like the upscale from that was like when she's eating like a fried chicken meal or something. And I'm like,
Right.
damn, that's her whole... And she subsequently got fired because she got into a fight with the supervisor. Like, her whole energy was just real volatile. And I'm like, of course the fuck it is. She's eating fast food every meal. Like, that's why she was, like, so physically out of shape. And, like, she was looking at my food like she didn't know what the salmon was.
What the fuck are you eating there?
She didn't know what it was. Like, how do you look at a piece of fish and not know what that is? Like, I can get the quinoa. I didn't know what, like, it was maybe 8 years ago. I was like, quinoa? What is that? So I get not knowing.
It's the super grain, man.
I get that, but she didn't recognize, like, just
fish.
regular old fish. So she had just a basic knowledge about nutrition that she didn't have. So understanding that what you put in, like, determines, like, your state of mind and your energy level.
Yeah, that's super important. And that's what I mean. That's what I'm trying to do, like a martial arts school, a kung fu school in Detroit or in the middle of the city, because I want to like bring a certain awareness to like the physicality of yourself. Because you work out a lot, you're gonna have to eat a certain way.
Yep.
And like talk to people, be like, well,
man, convincing people not to do fast food is gonna be like a super challenge. One, it's cheap and it's everywhere.
Sure.
And people think it tastes good. Now that I know what real food tastes like, I think fast food tastes like shit. I haven't had it in like 20 years.
Like shit
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But you need to have the contrast. Because I eat so clean now, I'm like, oh, this is what it could feel like. Like if you've only eaten shit food, you don't know the difference.
Yeah.
You know?
It's hard. But I think, like it's like that would reflect in your highermost like spirituality, that's weird.
That too, like I don't even think you can access certain levels of consciousness unless you're like your body's in
your body's got to be
the right kind of condition.
I think so. And I think that's still like the missing piece, and this COVID thing really brought it into sharp focus because man, people are not in shape in this country.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like some people took this opportunity to get healthier. Like I got lots of friends that at least got Pelotons with the intention of like working out, and I'm seeing people's posts talking about how much weight they're losing.
That's cool.
And people are cooking more because
Well,
we
they
couldn't
have
go
to,
out to
yeah.
eat. So now they're paying attention to, what they put in their bodies more than before. But then I also am reading stories about people who are gaining 50 pounds. And
Can go both ways, right? You're at home all the time.
yeah, but I don't know. I would hope that like a critical mass of people though got more spiritual, right? You're spending more time with yourself. No.
I don't know.
I
I think that it can go two ways, right? Either you access that higher spirituality, or you get into like a mental illness kind of short circuit downward spiral.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, because I was thinking of those people that just belly up at the bar all the time. Like if you can't go to the bar to drown your sorrows, just aren't you at home like sorting your shit out?
No, you're probably fucking yourself up at home. Because drinking at home,
Alone.
yeah, that's like worse, I feel like, than being at the bar. At least there's somebody's gonna be like,
No, it absolutely is worse, but I don't know. I think I'm thinking of like if it was me, I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to stop because at home by myself isn't solving anything. Let me figure my shit
I
out.
don't know, I was drinking. I went through like a few months there where I was drinking every night, Not
At home?
yeah, like not a lot, but
Yeah.
I'll have I'll have a cocktail or two,
Uh-huh.
But it adds up, man. So I was looking at like whiskey bottles that I went through in like 3 months, and I was like, man, this is like, I don't know. Because when you're at the bar, you're not looking at the bottle. You just get those drinks.
Right.
And next day, you don't remember, what.
You're not thinking, that you killed a whole fifth by yourself.
Yeah, well, I wasn't killing like a fifth by myself, but like in a week I would,
Yeah.
So that's, or two, a week or two for sure. And you just see how much it adds up, and you're like, fuck. So I switched to vodka. No, I don't.
But I think that, like, also because so many more people were, like, unemployed and underemployed and broke and freaking out, and then we all had to watch George Floyd on TV, I feel like didn't more people, like, get more empathetic?
Shit. You think? Or
I
is
don't
it like a whole
know.
bunch of, like, virtue signaling to say that you're empathetic and then you're still at home not doing shit for anybody, Sorry.
It could be. I guess maybe we see what we want to see. I'm trying to believe that all
I'm
these
just
people.
being a pessimist, but
No, I mean, there's probably truth to both. Because what I envisioned was,
Yeah.
so there's some, like what COVID did, some people who have normal middle class lives, like they found out that their job wasn't so important and that they weren't so unique and special, and they got unemployed or underemployed, so they were broke and they're just sitting around the house miserable.
yeah.
But it forces you into like some self-contemplation that, I don't know, you'd be like, maybe I've been a dick all this time.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, right?
I don't know.
And I mean, definitely the whole, the George Floyd thing definitely hit the country pretty good. But I don't know if there's like a real change that happened. I feel like
It's hard to say,
I guess
because
we're gonna have
a
to,
lot
like-
of it's a performance, I think.
that's what I feel like too. And I
But
think
some of it's legit. Some people are legit on a new journey now.
I hope. I mean, it seemed like a lot of people I know were like marching, and they're doing stuff. And actually, I'm pretty happy in the way that Detroit in particular handled the whole thing, versus like Seattle.
Maybe because the city filed a countersuit. So the Detroit Will Breathe folks sued the police department for like excessive force, I'm assuming, something. And
Yeah.
then the city countersued. The judge dismissed it, but I was just like, really? You're gonna what? In this moment in time?
You're gonna
And we
countersue.
also doubled down on like the budget for the police department.
Yeah, that's it.
After everybody's like defund
Defund the police.
yeah, we doubled down on the budget. It's not like totally, like, it's not exactly doubled, but more money than last year is being applied to the police force.
What do
Yeah,
you,
in this moment when we're talking about
how do you
defunding.
how do you see the defunding thing working?
I don't know. I have
And
mixed feelings
realistically.
about it. Like, just on its own, it needs more explanation. If you're telling my black ass who grew up in the city of Detroit on the Northwest side, like falling asleep to gunshots every day, like cars getting stolen,
Sure.
to ultimately my parents being the victims of a home invasion, like
Oh, shit.
3 dudes in the house with guns at their heads, like in our fucking dining room, in the house they had lived in for like 45 years.
Man.
So if you're trying to tell me about, like, we don't need police, I'm like, the fuck? Are you gonna come protect
Yeah, who's gonna
us?
do it, right?
Like, I get it theoretically when I'm having conversations with people that are, of that mind, but like, it warrants a deeper conversation. You can't expect people to be like on board from day one when you're just saying, just like get rid of police. Like, really? Like, who are you coming to
Right.
protect people?
I'll call you. Give me your cell phone.
Yeah,
number,
like
you show up, right?
yeah, I'm not like a fan of police or
No,
anything.
well, yeah.
Like, I get tense when the police are behind me, even though, like, I don't even drink anymore. So when I'm driving, I don't know why I tense up when I'm like, the police are behind me. I'm like, well, what the fuck?
So it's
like, it's
like
a visceral reaction.
It's a visceral thing.
So I'm not a fan, but I also, when people say defund, I'm like, okay, let's have a conversation. You can't just expect people to get there right away.
There's got to be like a detailed plan of what that means.
Yeah.
Like,
I would love it if we could get to a place where we were all on some like restorative justice, like you sit the person down who's been harmed with the person who caused the harm,
No shit.
and then you have a proper mediator there who isn't
right.
afraid of black men and wants to
that,
abuse
right,
his
that would be
power.
amazing, and I feel like that requires more education.
Totally.
Like, you can't just have.
No, you can't do
The-
you can't get there overnight just because somebody said it.
I mean, that almost sounds like you'd have to educate people a lot more before they're cops or something like that, or maybe.
Oh yeah, the way that we train cops that should be changed immediately.
Yeah, like, I mean, I teach self-defense courses, and I don't teach them to.
How to kill people.
Well,
You could.
No, I do, but not with guns.
Yeah.
And not as the first thing you do.
Right. You don't go from 0 to death grip.
That's the thing about guns is like, if you don't know how to protect yourself, with your hands, then a gun is a natural solution. And then once you shoot somebody, it's like, you
don't usually
kill them,
shoot to injure. You can attempt to just nick somebody, but it's
hard.
you're
You gotta be like you gotta, go to the range a lot to be a good shot to nick somebody. It's easier.
Right.
It's easier to shoot center mass than it is like a limb, So like, they're thinking like, this guy's coming at me. He's angry. I don't know if he has a gun. I'm gonna shoot him.
But it's something in our psychology that needs to be worked on. So if you look at like Scandinavian countries that have they don't even have necessarily high security prisons, I remember I've been to the Faroe Islands, so it's like in the ocean between Iceland and Denmark.
Yeah.
And I was talking to the dude there about Nordic life, and he's like, yeah, we don't even have a prison on this set of islands. If someone's really bad, we send them to Denmark. But there are places in the world where their police don't even have guns because the people don't need to be controlled in such a way.
Yeah, but also there's not this prevalence of guns in the hands.
Right, but why do we need them?
in
What
the
is it about the way we live our lives here that makes us think we need guns?
Like the police or people?
Either,
right? But
yes, why?
this is just
But also, like I said, it's like the psychology. Like if you put a gun in front of me, and even if someone attacked me, I'd be afraid to use it. you know?
Well, if you don't know how to use it, they might take it away from you.
Yeah,
And shoot you.
which is why I won't get one.
Yeah.
Well, because I feel like if you have one, you got to be ready to kill somebody, right? Like the whole point is to protect myself. So if somebody's chasing me, but I don't want to kill anybody, then I shouldn't have it. So I don't have it because the person's going to come after me and they're going to get it.
Should have something, you know, or at least be like, you know, ready to.
Pepper spray, taser.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Tasers
taser-
seem like they don't deploy right all the time.
Sometimes. But I recommend learning martial arts.
I know.
That's,
I know. It's like you're
that's-
making the perfect case for
that's
like
just me, you know.
learning self-defense.
Yeah, because like, you know, ultimately you want to be able to protect yourself if it comes to it, you know. Like, preemptively instead of after the fact. Be like, man, that dude fucked me up. Now I gotta learn how to protect me. That's like rather
Right. No, I know
do
you're
it
right.
beforehand so that when that shit goes down, you like gouge his fucking eyes out or something, you know. Mm-hmm. Like rip off his face with your fist, you know. Like, just saying, you know, like.
I just want to temporarily disable somebody.
Yeah, like you can hurt somebody really bad without killing them, you know, to a point where they.
See, why don't we teach our law enforcement that?
I'm ready. Like, bring them in here. Like, I'll work with the cops to train them to, you know.
Or better yet, how about we train them to just verbally de-escalate?
That, I think, is even harder, probably.
I know.
That's like a different department they would have to employ or some shit. They'll
Yeah,
have, like,
they'd
the
probably
cop-
have to change the requirements for who could be a cop, too.
Yeah, and that just almost seems like you spend more money. So it's like the opposite of defunding, you know? How do you even get that education into these people that are now cops? You'd be like,
I think you'd have to fire now cops.
you have to fire
Not all of them, but I feel like you have them take a psychological exam.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to get rid of some of them.
Take them, get them sitting down in front of a psychiatrist, like, listen, how do you feel after?
Or put them in a test scenario where somebody's just going at them and see what they can withstand.
I mean, it's got to be hard, you know, when you're dealing with people like that on a daily basis, and you feel like they're all against you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you probably.
But also, that's what the fuck you sign up for. Why do cops act so surprised? Like, did you not know what the job was?
No, exactly. But it's like, you know, I can see it from both sides, I'm saying. Because they're getting paid like, whatever, $18 an hour to.
Then why do they go do that? Go do something else.
I feel like it's an ego thing, you know? You know? So it's like, there's a certain power that comes with.
Yes, exactly.
being a
So
cop.
that needs to be discussed, that they sign up for it because of that. So you can't complain about the low pay, like you knew that going in.
Yeah.
You knew it was going to be dangerous.
Like, the people that would be ideal cops don't want to be cops.
I know.
Like, if you want to be a cop, you
probably shouldn't be a cop.
probably shouldn't be a cop, right?
Right.
And you know, there's some cops that.
Exceptions for people who like have a long lineage in their family. Like I get like it's what your dad and your uncle
I'm
did.
sure there's good cops, but it's like, you know, I've had a few people come through here that were cops, you know. They seemed okay, I don't know. It's not like they pulled me over, you know, or anything. They're coming here to learn.
I don't know. I mean, obviously there are some good ones, but I just think that it takes a certain kind of person to sign up for that.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's like the teaching thing too. The whole education thing, like public schools.
Oh my God.
Who the fuck wants to be a public school teacher, you know? And the people that do it, the people that are qualified to do it and would be great at it, don't want to do it. Mm-hmm. Myself included.
We should pay teachers more.
Yeah.
I think that would help.
Yeah, I mean, well, I guess.
And celebrate them more.
Sure. Yeah, doctors get paid so much.
Mm-hmm. Well, as they should.
Yeah, but so should a few other professions.
Yeah.
I mean, if we paid the cops more and just had more stringent measures of how to become a cop. Mm-hmm.
And more like accountability metrics once they're in there. Because so many of these cops that end up shooting unarmed black men, they'll go through their record and there's like
They already
a string of complaints.
Yeah, they already have like a whole. It's like, why don't you take that fucking guy out?
Yeah,
Dude,
that's
that
the
guy,
thing.
The
Yeah.
guy that shut up all those people in Boulder just now, he had a string of whatever. He was like, on the FBI watch list. And then he went to get a gun, and they're like, yeah, sure, get that AK-47 or whatever the fuck.
I don't know why
Or AR-15.
why automatic rifles are available to citizens.
Well, they need to check that shit. If you have a history of mental illness, like, let's not give them the AR-15, Like,
How about let's not give them any weapon?
Or anything. Let's not just put them off that list, I don't know. Such a weird thing, the gun conversation.
I don't even know where to begin with that. But again, it all goes to our psychology. Who are we that we think that everybody needs guns, access
Power
to
of
guns?
life and death, right here. Yeah.
I don't want that.
I mean, it's scary because some, people abused it. It's crazy too because like during COVID, we didn't have any shootings in schools.
Oh,
And now,
yeah,
not in schools now, but
right,
we had
right.
2 right off the bat when shit started getting loose again. It's like, damn, are we going back like that fast?
And 2 in a week.
Well, yeah, it was.
But it makes me ask again. I'm always like going to the psychology of Americans. Who are we that we got to go kill a bunch of people when things don't go our way?
Well, it's not like everybody.
Well, no, but like
Enough,
2 is
though.
too many.
2
like
is
one
too-
does it, and you're all like, "Oh my God, that's atrocious." We
Remember
have
back-
to change as a people.
Remember when like Columbine happened and everybody's like, "Holy fuck, that was crazy," but that was like a one-off, right? And then that shit just.
It keeps happening.
I mean,
what year was that?
It was like the late '90s.
Oh my gosh.
They were listening to Marilyn Manson.
And here we are in 2021, and it's still happening.
I mean, before COVID, it was happening like every other week or something. Like,
but does it make you wonder, like, who are we?
I mean, there's
Like it just doesn't happen in other countries to the extent it happens here, and we're supposed to be like this great nation. Everybody's like, paddling on boats from other countries to get here so they can have the best life. But is it really so great?
I mean, yes, but also it has its pitfalls, obviously. Like it's a consumer-based culture, so like that's the problem. But coming from countries that are, I came from Belarus or whatever.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I was there for 14
I don't even know where Belarus is. Where's Belarus?
It's next to Ukraine.
Okay.
It's got this crazy dictator there since like the late 90s. He's still in power.
And your parents came here?
Yeah.
Do they go back?
Sometimes, yeah. I got family there and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember I told you one time I wanted to go to Siberia, and you're like, "Oh, my dad does some work there." And I was
Yeah.
like, "What?"
Yeah, he was living there for like 5 years or something.
That is I do still want to go to Siberia.
I mean, it's some interesting wilderness out there.
Yes, exactly.
There's a huge lake there.
I know, Lake Baikal. Is that
Yeah.
how you say it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I want to go.
My dad used to do these crazy hikes, and he would go for like, 100 miles with his friends.
Can he survive out in the wilderness
Yeah.
and stuff? What? Shut up. Who's your dad? When can we go?
Well, he doesn't do that anymore. He's in his 60s, but, dude, I was talking to him the other day, and he was like, he's like, yeah, I'm like, you still running? It's like, yeah, I run like 5 miles a day. He's 65.
That's amazing.
I'm like, he's like, yeah, it's nothing. I used to run, 15 miles every day, like before I turned 30, I'm like, oh, shit.
Oh my gosh.
15 miles?
What does he do?
He's just a mechanical engineer. He works on these giant presses.
Okay. But just like his side, he just likes hiking and being in the wilderness like that.
Yeah.
That is
He had a
amazing.
group of friends. They were all doing it. They would get together and go on these hikes that were like in the wilderness.
So he's like a survivalist guy. If you just dropped him somewhere, he could get out.
I don't know about now, but back in the day, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's weird. It's like this. Yeah, they would go to like the Carpathian Mountains and shit. And,
I don't know where that is. Where's that?
I don't know. It's in Europe.
Did you ever go on any of these excursions?
I remember him going when I was a kid, but I didn't know where they were going or anything.
And you didn't get curious and want to follow in his footsteps?
Nah, I have no desire to come back to Belarus or Russia anyway. Yeah. I don't know.
I could see that.
It was a weird,
How old were you when you left there?
14.
Oh, so you remember it.
Oh, yeah. I can still speak it and read it and all that
Oh, that's amazing. So what language is it there?
Russian.
Oh, so it's all Russian.
Yeah, it's all Russian.
Oh, that's good to know.
They were part of the Soviet Union. They have their own language. It's Belarusian.
Okay.
But, which is like a kind of a mix between, it's closer like Polish.
Okay. And you know both? You can do Belarusian and Russian?
Belarusian, it's almost like an accent of Russian. So yeah,
Okay.
I can understand it, but.
That
Russian.
is good to know. I just filed that away that Kirill knows Russian, just in case something comes up.
Yeah, if you need
I don't know what the something would be, but
get in trouble with some wrong people
you
there.
never know. Russian mafia is after me.
There you go. I wouldn't want to get involved with them, but hopefully I can translate.
You would be able to translate the ransom demands.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's the Russian. Yeah, I lived in Brooklyn when I came to the United States, and for like a couple of years.
So that was the first stop from the Soviet Union to, what do we call it now? USSR, Soviet Union? What is that body called at
Well,
this
it's
point?
Russia now.
Just Russia, okay.
Yeah, well, it's Russia, and it's splintered into all these countries.
Okay.
That's what happened in like the early 90s. And the whole economy collapsed. And
When everybody got independent.
yeah, it was...
Oh, so the Soviet Union wasn't a union anymore, that's
right,
okay.
yeah, it splintered into like, all those countries, Latvia, Litva, Ukraine, Belarus, but also like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, all of the stands, and that was more like Middle Eastern.
Okay.
So.
So wait, you stopped in Brooklyn and for a couple years and then here?
Yeah, and then here.
Why here? Or
my,
why?
My
Yeah.
dad is an engineer, so.
Oh, like the automotive?
Well, he's whatever, so kind of he's a mechanical engineer, so he can do. Yeah, so Detroit, yeah, it's quite a change, man. I like Brooklyn, but
Yeah?
this was
Isn't Detroit getting more like Brooklyn every day?
maybe.
Probably not the Brooklyn you saw back then.
No, it was a different time. It was like 1993 or something. So New York was still a little rough around the edges. Yeah. Manhattan wasn't, a Disneyland of.
Right. I
Whatever.
lived in Manhattan for a summer. It would have been 1994.
Oh, we were there at the same time.
What? That was when I was trying to be a music mogul. I had an internship at Sony Music.
Nice.
And I lived in an apartment called the Blackstone that was on Broadway and 90-something, 92nd.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. I used to look out my window every day and be like, oh my God, that's the Broadway. You live on the Broadway right now.
Yeah, that's. And but that shit was sketch at that time, right? I mean, it was like.
Yeah, I was very naive, so I didn't know. All I knew was, I worked on the 31st floor of the Sony Tower.
Right, that's pretty cool,
And I knew that if I stayed at work after 5, I could use the car service. And if I stayed at work after 8, I could get dinner and write it off.
Nice.
Those are the things I was worried about. Let me get this ride home and this free dinner.
That's what's up.
And go try to meet these rock stars.
So what, that didn't work out? What happened?
No, we did. We met quite a few people. Also, I went to Woodstock that summer.
Oh, shit.
I just asked my boss, I was like, can we have like Woodstock tickets? And they're like, okay. And we also got the car service to take us to Woodstock.
Nice.
That was super fun. Just like seeing like what we could get away with.
Who did you see in Woodstock that you remember?
Oh, I don't even remember who played that year.
Like Nine Inch Nails and Nirvana or some shit.
I don't know why I can't remember who was there.
Soundgarden or something.
I've seen Soundgarden a bunch of times.
Yeah,
Chris Cornell was in a small club we went to because Jeff Buckley was a Columbia artist who was distributed by Sony. So I remember my boss being like, do you know Jeff Buckley? I love Jeff Buckley. But my boss was like, we're about to go see one of our new signings, meet at this club Fez at whatever time. And then so we get there for the show, and he's like, you like Soundgarden? I'm like, yeah, Soundgarden's cool, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. He's like, Chris Cornell's right behind you. I'm like, oh my God, he's here.
that's cool.
Ridiculous. I don't know why I can't remember who played Woodstock. I just remember it was really, really dirty and very crowded, and I couldn't pee, and it was very hot, and it couldn't get water. I just remember like the discomfort. I don't remember who we saw.
I love that that's how the human mind works. You just remember like the good times are fleeting, you know, but the bad times are like, yeah, I remember how much that hurt, you know.
Oh, we didn't have the car we had the car to Lollapalooza, which was on some other, Randall's Island, is that a thing in New York? Some other island. But my friend who was an intern with me drove like this Winnebago to the Woodstock. Because I'm just having a flashback of him rolling some joints and getting really paranoid when the car hit something and the weed went flying around.
Perfect. That sounds like a good time.
It was so much fun, but it was also really dirty and hot and yeah. Super good. It was just like wall-to-wall people and everyone was covered in mud. It's gross. I remember we left early. Like, it was a weekend-long thing. We stayed one day because we were
all right, enough of this.
Yeah, we were far too precious to stay in there.
That's enough of this thing. That's cool, though. I mean,
yes,
you were there for some history. I remember seeing footage of that, like people covered in mud, you know, like dancing to like Rage Against the Machine or something.
Yeah, who did we see? I remember when we came back watching the stream in the Sony offices, and I remember the Red Hot Chili Peppers. We watched them on the stream. I remember because they were like naked except for the socks over their junk, and I was like, "See, if we had stayed, we could have been there for this legendary performance." But I really still couldn't tell you who we saw.
Well, you were there.
Yep. For day one.
Day one?
Uh-huh.
Man, that's probably good you got out in time, though. You don't want to leave when everybody's leaving and all that.
No, it was just, it just didn't seem safe. Like, it was hard to get food, hard to get water. I was like, this is dumb.
They probably didn't plan for that many people.
No, I think that was the first time, and they were, like, overwhelmed. Yep, for sure. Mm-hmm. So wait, what else do I remember about New York at that time? That's when it was still grimy? Yeah, I think I was just pretty much going to my office.
I mean, you know, like I remember going to like Times Square and it was like porno theaters and sketchiness and like, you know, I was like 14.
I was like trying to go to shops in Soho. I was trying to have like a fancy person's, you know, a little posh person's New York experience.
That was going on, yeah. The Village, Soho.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and trying to have like a music business person's experience because we got to go to all the shows for free because we were the record label. Yeah. I also saw that year Oasis had just been signed to one of Sony's labels.
Nice.
And again, my boss was like, come check out this new signing. And it's these two brothers, they're British. We're like, okay.
Let's go see
And there were like 5 people there.
Damn.
I know. I saw Oasis in a room with like 5 people, and I want to say they were all record label people. It was like all us. It wasn't open to the public show, but I don't think anyone came. Or it might have been like a private show. I don't know, but I remember I saw Oasis with like 5 people.
Was Oasis good?
I just remember I was uncomfortable because they were yelling at each other. I don't remember. I ended up liking them later, but I just remember they were arguing and it made me very, very uncomfortable.
like-
You know, like they're on stage, like performing a show and they're like
just-
arguing.
It's like watching a married
Yeah, I
couple
was like,
bicker.
ugh.
Like go out with somebody to dinner and they're like arguing. You're like,
Exactly, like it's something you're not supposed to see.
thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that.
Yep.
I kind of love that they were arguing.
And that became like their thing. What else? That was a super fun summer.
So it was the summer of like 94 or something.
Yes, I'm old, so I was a senior in college. It was after my 4th year of college.
Dang. That's cool though.
Yeah, it was great. But it taught me that I didn't really want to live in New York, because before then I was like, soon as I finish school, I'm moving to New York City.
I love the people
Oh my gosh, the
say
city
that
was
shit.
just like, there were roaches everywhere.
Yeah.
Everything smelled bad, because I was there in the summer, like I said, so it was like the hot garbage on the sidewalk.
It was, those couple of summers were hot too. It was like pretty fucking hot. I remember that summer in 93 when I made it to to Brooklyn or whatever, it was like the hottest summer on record. And the following summer was hot as fuck too. It was just
I was
like,
there one of those summers.
Yeah.
And it was just like really expensive, and I just realized that I didn't think I could lead like a thriving life in New York. I'd always be struggling, and I was like, I don't think I can do that.
You want to pay like,
To live in like a one-room studio, pay like $2,000 a month, and
or pay like whatever $750 for a bedroom.
I
like,
didn't
with
think I
5
could
roommates
ever.
or something.
It didn't seem like you could ever get over. Like your whole time there would be struggle. And there is something magical about New York that makes that struggle worth it, but it wasn't magical enough for me.
There's this definitely like this synchronous energy there, where like weird things that you you almost never think would happen. They happen.
Oh yeah,
Just
in New
because
York all the time.
They happen
Yeah.
all the time because there's just a volume of people there.
Yeah.
So much. You can
Like anything is possible because of who's there.
like you run
Yep.
into somebody you haven't seen in years. Mm-hmm. On the same whatever, walking down the street, and you're like, what the. How does that even? You know?
It does have that kind of magic to it, but I was like, nah, I don't think I can do it. And what I realized too is like everybody in New York is kind of the special person where they came from. Like I wanted to be special, and I did not feel special in New York because everybody was so fucking special.
They're so special.
Yes, and I was like, this is a place where it's impossible to like, I don't know, like get really good at anything or like excel at anything. I don't know. It's just like, I don't see how I could win here. So I was like, no, I can't live here.
It was definitely like a destination, right? Like
Yes.
people were talked about it, like I'm gonna. And I had I went to art school.
Did you?
Yeah, in the late '90s. I went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh. So I lived in Pittsburgh for like 2.5 years. Mm-hmm. And after that, I had like a design degree or some bullshit. And
What did you want to do?
I just wanted to make art, and they were
What, like paint or sculpt or?
draw, paint, whatever. And they were like, well, why don't you do this design thing? That's marketable. And I was like, okay, let me spend $30,000 right now to fucking listen to your fucking. Yeah, it was fucked up because I had a scholarship to CCS, and I was like, I don't want to fucking stay in Detroit.
Right.
I want to go. And I went to this thing, and they gave me like a scholarship. It was like half, it wasn't a full thing. But, So I still had to, anyway.
So you still have some money, me too.
Yeah, well.
And I went to college
That was
here.
the end of my educational sordidness because. But after that, I had like a chance to. I was like thinking because I have family in Brooklyn. My uncle still lives there. My cousins are there. I was like, I can just go to Brooklyn and do the design thing. Mm-hmm. And I was like, nah, fuck that. Fuck New York. And I ended up coming here and just doing music shit and playing a bunch of shows, and it was a good time. But
The other thing that I love about here, though, is it's a small, big city, so you can, like, know all the people that do all the stuff, or most of them anyway. You know what I mean? Like if you're in like in New York, I also lived in Chicago for a while. It just felt like their scenes are so big, but here I feel like they're bite size.
You can kind of, you can kind of know people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can get to people here.
I'm still surprised, like, though, like, even here, like, I find out about people, I'm like, I didn't know that person knew that person. But it's kind of cool, like, just seeing the connections of the scenes, you know, whatever.
I'm always fascinated by that, too, because I have a couple of different personalities, you know? Like my current personality is kind of pro-black activist.
Yeah.
But I have also been, like, edgy alternative, like only black girl in the room person, and like, you know, a little gothy, and I'm always, when those worlds collide, I'm like, who from my nightclub past is over here in the activist world? That's always interesting. So yeah, and like techno nightclub me, so there's like techno nightclub me, like goth alternative me. Yes. Yeah, now pro-black activist me. And whenever any of those worlds collide, I'm like, whoa, you know those
there's a couple of people that intersect, right?
Yes, I'm like, you guys, what? Yeah, that's always fun.
That's cool. I feel like the techno nightclub thing and the activist thing may not be as separated as... Because there's this culture of, you know, I don't know.
I was like a hardcore partier, though. So
that's fine, though, you know?
Like binge drinking, a little bit of drugs. So when I see like kids from that past over in this world, like I know what it takes to come from that past to this world. So I'm like, okay, you did that journey too. Cool.
That is cool. But, you know, I feel like a lot of Detroit techno guys that were into that. What's his name? Toffler guy with the I forget his name. I was going to Google it, but he's like the futurist writer guy who's, you know, he wrote books in the 70s. He predicted a bunch of stuff, you know.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so
I might know who you're talking about, but I can't think of it.
I can't think of his name, but...
well, I do see how there's a natural connection to, like, techno from Detroit and Afrofuturism, and how... And I feel like Afrofuturism is kind of starting to influence how we do like community development work. So it seems like those universes are kind of colliding now, which makes sense.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like, there's an overlap there. Because, I mean, it's all just people. And
right. Yeah, totally.
And creating culture, you know, like music is kind of like brings people together, you know. I mean, to do drugs, but, you know.
Weren't the drugs so that we could just stay together listening to music longer?
Right. Music is a magical thing. I think there's a lot.
It is, and I haven't been listening to it as much lately.
What are you listening to instead?
That's the thing, like playlist.
But like, okay, I listen to a lot of podcasts and stand-up, so I don't know.
Yes. Embarrassingly, I listened to this one podcast by a comedian named Godfrey. Do you know him?
Gilbert Godfrey?
No. His first name's Godfrey.
Oh, all right. I was going to say
and
that guy.
He's super funny, but sometimes the podcast like devolves into like locker room humor.
Of course.
A little bit.
Yeah.
But like he's super intelligent, like black guy, talks about black history a lot and black culture, which I love, but sometimes it just I don't know, it goes to a real low place, and I'm why are they talking about
and that's
this?
part of the comedy world.
But that's
right?
I don't know, I listen to it all the time. I think it's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, I love that. I love comedian podcasts. I think they do a good job. I think comedy really reflects a lot of, you know, it's like the last bastion of, you know, saying whatever the fuck you want kind of thing, you know.
Right.
You know, sort of on...
Whose podcast do you like?
I like Doug Stanhope, that dude.
Oh, I like Doug Stanhope.
Yeah.
He's really kind of depressing.
He is, but
I remember watching a couple of his specials, and it was like, funny, but also kind of dark.
It's dark, yeah. I like that, you know. Dog is good. Anything Dave Attell does, I think is.
I like Dave Attell. I used to love Dave Attell's show.
Oh, the Insomniac show?
Yeah, that was great.
I
love Dave Attell.
Good, yeah. Who else? Burr's okay. He's too much.
I like Burr. He's funny.
He's funny, but he can be
He
too
did
much.
great on Saturday Night Live. Did you see when he
Yeah,
was
I did. And
I thought that
all
was
those,
fantastic.
all those people got mad at him.
I know, but that's whatever. He's speaking truth.
I know.
20 years from now, they'll be like, yeah.
Burr's good.
Right on.
I just read this book by a comedian. His name is Sam Talent, with 2 L's. And I was like, and Doug Stanhope recommended it or whatever on his podcast. And I was like,
Stanhope's got a podcast.
he does. It's totally like fucking like a fuck off podcast. There's no video. It's just like him sitting around his house with his friends talking shit. It's pretty great.
That's interesting. Do you listen to Mark Maron's?
I do. Maron is good, but I don't know. Not all the time, you know.
Yeah, I don't all the time. When I see like a guest that I'm interested
Right,
in.
that's what, I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, let's check it out. Mm-hmm. There's some surprising ones where like the guests are funnier or more interesting than you'd think.
What is Homeboy's name from a black guy who owns a bunch of networks now, who was in a big lawsuit, discrimination lawsuit. He was on there and he was fucking hilarious. Oh, I can't remember his name. He was on a cheesy like TV comedy show. Byron Allen.
Oh,
Do you remember Byron Allen?
I do. I remember.
So he was kind of a cheesy comic, but like low key over the past few years have just been buying up all these networks like Weather Channel and stuff. But then he sued. Oh yeah, and I believe he won. He sued like some companies for not advertising with him. I don't know the details, but whatever, he won. And he was on Maron's show and he was talking about how he got his start and comedians that like were his mentors, and it was super like kind of raunchy and really funny.
That's cool.
Yeah, but you think of him as like this, I don't know, kind of uptight, nerdy kind of dude, but he had a story.
That's cool. Yeah, there's some good podcasts going on out there.
There are too many.
Too many.
We're on one, and I want to do one. There's so many.
You should do one. I mean,
but it needs a theme though.
Yeah.
But but kind of like you, I was like, I know an interesting cast of characters who have so many good stories to tell.
Well, let me know if you need help because.
I was just gonna. Isn't there just some app? Do I need like all the things?
No, you just fucking.
I do have I bought I like gadgets, so I just bought one of those like handheld things with the 2 little mics that go like that.
Oh,
It's called the Zoom.
The Zoom.
Yes,
yeah.
I bought that.
It's funny because it's called Zoom, but the Zoom thing is hot right now. So.
Exactly. So I have that thing.
That's cool. I mean,
I bought it like a year ago. I was like, I'm gonna do a podcast. I need this.
Well, you need mics, I guess, but you don't have to have mics. You know, it depends.
Could you just do like iPhones?
Yeah, it's not gonna sound great, but I mean, this room doesn't sound great here. It's like a bunch of echo, but I have a basement here that I'm working on to build like a real studio.
Oh, nice.
So
interesting. Are you gonna post your podcast somewhere?
This one? Yeah.
Just any of them?
Yeah, they're on.
Where are they at? Are they in iTunes? Where do they live?
No, I just post them on YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah, it's called Industrial Detroit TV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you have a channel?
Yeah, I got like 44 subscribers.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
Some people have none.
Some people do have none, and I have 44, so I'm pretty much rolling in it. Subscribe and stuff, please. Anyway, pretty much on my way to that first 100,000. You know, but you know.
Does it have a name?
That's just Industrial Detroit TV is the name.
No, the podcast.
That's the name of the podcast.
No, that's the name of your channel. What's the name of the podcast?
That's the Kirill Experience. No, it's called. That's what it's called. It's called Industrial Detroit TV. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. This is episode 9.
Who else have you had? Anyone else I know?
Probably not. There's a bunch of people from the industrial scene.
Like who? Maybe I know them.
I had a couple of Ritual Howls guys on. You know those
who?
Ritual Howls.
No, I don't know. Oh, I've heard of them, but I don't know what that is.
I'm friends with them, so I had them on, and my friend Pete.
That'd be funny if I knew them. Who else? Come on, let's see.
This dude David Christian from LA, he does this label called Square Wave, and I've been DJing his Twitch channel sometimes.
Okay.
He goes hardcore. He does 4 nights a week. You know, like different groups of people DJing. He went all in on that.
Oh, interesting.
Hopefully he's making some money off of that shit. I don't know. But he's got a real job. I don't know. So he's got, he works for, Delta. I don't know. Yeah. Who else did I have? Mark Church. He's a DJ. Do you know Mark? Mm-mm. He's a DJ in Detroit.
Mm-mm. Another industrial guy?
Yeah. He's also.
Am I the first non-industrial person?
Kinda. Yeah. Well, you are though, because you're into it anyway.
Yes.
I feel like anybody.
Kind of. I didn't know a ton about industrial, but just in so much as it was related to dance music or alternative.
You know who Skinny Puppy is, right?
Yeah, of course. I was a runner for their show.
See, that's what I'm saying.
That's because I work for Live Nation. My friend got me a job, but I was a runner at their show.
You're in the music industry. Yeah. You know who Skinny Puppy is. You're
That's it.
You're good.
I was going to say, so industrial, I would know Art of Noise. Does that count as the first industrial band?
I don't know first, but... Yeah.
An early one? Yeah. Or does Ministry count as industrial?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Ministry I like, but mostly when they got to be a dance band.
Yeah, those couple of 80s albums.
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, Al doesn't like those.
I know. I bet.
Have you met him?
Al Jorgensen?
Yeah.
No. Have you?
Yes.
Mm-mm. Does he live in Chicago? Where's he at?
I don't know where. He's in Texas now, I think.
Okay.
I have a weird story about that guy, but...
Ooh. Not for the podcast.
Can be, but it's a little explicit if you want.
Maybe. All right, let's see. What happened?
Oh, God. All right. All right, listeners. I'll share this with you.
All right, all 44 of you.
Well, 44 of my listeners. I was dating this girl, and she was making, she made ogres from Skinny Puppy, costume one year. I think it was 2004. So she was following them on tour, fixing the costume, because it was made out of rubber hose, or not rubber hose, some kind of weird material anyway. So I was hanging out, I met her up with them in New York, and I was hanging out backstage there, and Al was there, and he was supposed to do a Skinny Puppy song that he was on, and he was drunk as fuck, on wine, because he's trying to slow down or something at that time, But he's wasted, so he's listening to the song because he can't remember what he was playing, in the song. And the girl I was dating at the time, she was standing, it was we're in the green room, she's standing there, she's, I think, talking to him, and he does this thing where he pulls his dick out, So he pulls his dick out.
Just while they're talking like you and I are.
Yeah, he just pulls it out, and he's standing.
Wait, are you in the room too?
I'm in the room too. A bunch of people are in the room. This is just and everybody's just yeah, whatever. And so I'm like, fuck that. So I come up to him, and I slap his dick, with backhand it.
With a ring on.
No, just backhand it. No ring. And the room quiets down. It was like one of those moments where everything stopped. And everybody looked at me and him, you know?
Like, what's going to happen?
What's going to happen? And he's looking at me. And I'm like, I just smack his dick again. I was like, and he put it away. And I was like, yeah, man, don't fucking pull your dick out. And he was like, oh, yeah, sorry about that. And everything, like, went back.
All the sounds started
like
again. People started talking to each other again.
Yeah, that's my story. And he was like, thanks, man. And it's like, he was telling me about, like...
So, like, apparently none of those other people in the room had ever told him to put his dick away.
Or
he just pulls it out and it just hangs there.
I think it's just, like, some L antics, you know? Like, that's just how he is or some shit, you know?
Oh, my gosh.
And, you know, and he was like, yeah, you should come visit me in Texas. I'm like, no, man. That's
no one's ever told me to put my dick away before. No one's ever backhand slapped my dick before.
I know. So, that's my brush with fame.
That's not that illicit.
No, it's not. It's all right. You know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Interesting.
What's cooler than that is Diamanda Gallus was in that room for a brief moment. You know she is.
Yeah, was she like, hey, who are you?
No, she didn't say anything. She showed up and like was kind of quiet and I think just like said hi to the Skinny Puppy guys and left.
Nice.
Yeah. But I was like, I'm in the same room with Diamanda. That was cool.
That is cool.
She was cool. What a brilliant artist. She's got a voice. Yeah. Well, I don't know if we can go anywhere after that story.
Maybe that was a nice wrap up. But I feel like we talked about a whole universe of things.
We did.
That was fun. I had no idea what to expect. I'm like, whatever, it'll probably be cool.
No problem. Was it cool?
I like this better than like, you know, if it's like an official kind of business situation. I don't like when
like,
people
so how
aren't
do you
being
feel?
themselves or you're trying to be like, I don't know, trying to sell something or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, we're probably just going to talk.
I want to keep it like a little more natural and not like be all. It's like, so how do you feel about this now?
Yeah.
How about them vaccines?
Right, exactly. Cool.
Cool. Well, thank you, Lauren.
Thank you for having me. That was fun.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you had fun. I'm glad you came and checked out the school and the space and yeah.
I'll go follow you so you'll be at 45.
Oh no, I might be at 45 now. I'm not sure.
Maybe we can get you to 50.
Get me to 50, please.